Welcome to the show where we unearth new ways of looking at ever-evolving life around the world, seen from a number of different industries, cultures, and backgrounds. But there's one thing that unites everyone I speak to. They all want to do their part to make the world better in their own unique ways. It's a uniting passion. Whether they're from the commercial world, third sector, or public sector, from the global north or the global south, my name is Philippa White, and welcome to Thai Unearthed. Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Thai Unearthed. Now, last week I had to reschedule a meeting. It happens to all of us, doesn't it? But this meeting and the reason for the rescheduling just felt different. I was meeting with a woman who works as a psychotherapist in Iraq, supporting people who have been traumatized by ISIS violence. We had to push the meeting back a little bit later as the woman I was meeting with got stuck in traffic, returning from a refugee camp. The conversation left me so reflective. Talking to people in other places is so important. Perspective is such an incredible thing, and conversations like this just bring us all closer together. So it was an absolute honor to have spoken with Asmaa again today on Thai Unearthed. Asmaa Ibrahim is co-head of Trauma Care and Health at Jiyan Foundation for Human Rights and assistant lecturer at the Institute for Psychotherapy and Psychotraumatology at the University of Duhok in the Kurdistan Region of northern Iraq. She was one of the first to graduate from the master's degree program at the Institute for Psychotherapy and Psychotraumatology in Duhok. And after graduating, she began to work in Jiyan Foundation's Women's Clinic. Today, Asmaa talks about what happened to the women and children in 2014 at the hands of ISIS, how this trauma now manifests, and how she treats them at the Women's Clinic. We also talk about how ISIS radicalized children over the years and how she and Jiyan Foundation will be supporting the formerly militarized children and youth and helping them reintegrate into society. And she gives us a brief window into the life in Iraq, and we talk about the culture, and she explains her anguish, but also her hope. There's so much here. So grab that favorite beverage or throw on those running shoes. And here's the inspiring Asmaa. Hello, Asmaa. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really, really wonderful to have you here with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So tell us, where are you right now?
Yeah, right now I'm sitting in a small room in a dorm, I can say, that is specialized for the lecturer in the University of Duhok.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your background. So are you from there?
No, actually I'm from Suleymaniye Governorate in Kurdistan Region of Iraq. And I am here for work. I'm a lecturer in the University of Duhok for the Institute of Psychotherapy and Psychotraumatology, and also working in Jiyan Foundation Duhok branch.
So tell us a little bit about you and you haven't always been a psychotherapist. So tell us a little bit about you growing up and a little bit about your background.
I was born in a small town near Suleymaniye city, and I finished whole school years there, and I finished a bachelor degree in Koya University, that is another city in Kurdistan. I actually kind of live in many cities around Kurdistan, and I also applied for this master program in Duhok University, and I accepted and I finished, and I'm working there. Yeah, it was the journey, and now I am a PhD student in the same field.
Perhaps you can tell us why you got into psychotherapy. So what's the story there?
While I was in the high school, I was watching a TV show that was first TV show for psychological issues, we can say. I have 7 siblings.
Wow.
And we were kind of 10 family members. And, in the family members, there's positive sides and negative sides, of course. This show really got my attention. And that was the first point that I could find my interest in psychology. That was people can call that show and talk about the problems that they have. The host of the TV show were answering, and I was kind of interested in the answers, and I would like to have something like that, or just have the specialty to help people.
Yeah.
And I quite small at that age, and the system here is not like you can choose whatever you want. You only apply, and you will get a department based on your grade. And fortunately, I got the clinical psychology at Korea University. Yeah, I was really happy to have that department and finish that. And I was one of the top students there. Yeah, I started my first job with Jiyan, the women clinic, after finishing the bachelor. Okay. And there I faced difficulties in experiencing psychotherapy there, because we are really junior and the clients have really difficult situations.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to grab the first opportunity to just get the master degree and learn more about that. And hopefully I got the scholarship in Duhok University. That was a joint program between the University of Tübingen and University of Duhok. And we were staying there and studying here. And yeah, it was the first time to move on to Duhok and being familiar with it. And it is a really nice city, surrounded by mountains like Suleymania. They are similar in that point.
Yeah, nice.
There, the dialect is different. Dialect of Suleymania is Sorani, and Kurmanji is for Duhok. And it was one of the challenges that I faced.
God, yeah, wow.
Of moving here and learning it.
Because you're also talking about really important issues and things to get lost in translation, both you communicating, but also other people communicating. That must have been hard. On a personal level, what do you do in your spare time when you're not working?
Yeah, beside going out, I like meditation. I would do it whenever I have a little bit of time, just 5 minutes. I like it. And sometimes without anything to listen, but sometimes it is really, I like to have a guidance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I listen to something and just follow it. Is really one of the things that has calmed me down.
Wow, that's really important. And how long you said it could be 5 minutes, but how long do you sometimes go for if you're meditating? 20 minutes. Yeah.
With the longest would be 30, but it would be too long.
And you're almost sleeping.
Yeah.
Perhaps before we get into some of the more meaty questions that I have for you, obviously about the Women's Center and the other work that you're doing, I think for our listeners, can you give us a little bit of context on the history in Iraq? Why is there so much trauma? Can you help us understand the culture?
Yeah, actually, one of the first description that I can say, this area is kind of conflicted area, and this can be described like that, and it is the reality. Actually, it's the decades and more than 100 years of wars and conflict and crisis. It is internally and also with the external parties. There is too many traumatic events happen to the people inside those events that happened during war, after that. And also there's the one war is not finished, another one just started. And it is really, really kind of series of traumatic events, kind of not impact the generation that is experiencing the trauma. It's kind of it will be transferred to the generation that is not born yet in a direct and indirect way. Because when the person change in the, we can say the upbringing, the children also will be changed. It will impact on every aspect of that community and the area altogether. And we know that the recent one was the ISIS war that came here and invaded so many cities and areas. Sinjar was one of those areas that invaded by ISIS in 2014.
2014. I wanted to ask you the date exactly.
Yeah, the August 2014. That was started from Syria, 2011, and so many refugees came from there to here. with the fear is with them and is kind of follow them here as well, and including Sinjar and the areas around. We know that it was really kind of different war. It was really systematic and brutal for the people that experienced, actually, especially Yazidis and the minorities in general, Christian, and they were those who were not Muslim. And we know that it is not the real Islam that they were claiming for, but it's known as that. Till now, and could be 10 years later, we cannot fix that. We cannot heal from these traumatic events.
Can you just help us understand, in this context, but also in the day-to-day, just a little bit of understanding about women and the culture there?
Yeah, as you may already know, that we can say a collective society, and we are more focusing on having families, and you cannot go out from that family. Even if it is horrible things happen, you should stick to the family. And it is, we can say, long-term induced beliefs that if it could be from the religion and also the culture together. And we know that religion also can create cultures.
Of course.
There is peoples that they were not Muslim, but they were stick to the culture that came from the Islam or the other religions. The exclusion is quite a big thing in a collective society, especially in everywhere, but collective society in particular. And also one of the things that is really, we can say, affect the psychotherapy in general. Also, it is a stigma and shame. And shame is a big part of that stigma. That would be my PhD project about shame, because it is really kind of important topic here, that you cannot go to therapy because of that. And the women here, now it's gonna be kind of change here, especially in Kurdistan region of Iraq. We know that currently it is uprising in Iran, the Kurdistan part of Iran. We are saying East Kurdistan. There's uprising because of one of the women, Kurdish women, they're killed by the government of Iran. They are kind of protesting the words that they are clinging for, or they are repeating that woman, life and freedom. Yeah, because they were forced to be hijab, covered. Covered head and body. It's not like that here in this surface, but we still have the problem of killing women in the cities and also the area around it, the far from the cities, the rural area, we can say, I think. There is killing and also shaming women for doing something and blaming her, and there is all of those kind of problems. There is still in those kind of rural area, there is female circumcision, if I'm not wrong about the word.
Circumcision.
It's kind of stopped by law, but it is there because there is a belief that they should do that.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you reflect on culture? Culture is a funny word, because obviously on the face of it, if you say to somebody, this is, I love culture. I love learning about different cultures, and so, but there's a lot that's intertwined in that. That's artisans, there's food, you can have the beautiful part of cultures, but then there's customs, and then there's oppressions, and then there's forced ways of living based on a culture that has always happened. And because it's a culture, sometimes it's hard to fight against it because that's just what we do, right? But as a result, particularly women in many places around the world, corporate culture. This isn't just in places like Iraq, in the US, it's culture it's dangerous. And I think it's people like you actually in the area that you're working, helping open people's eyes to, doesn't have to be like that. And how can we, slowly change things, right?
Yeah, actually there is something that's really totally normal for males, but if a female do that, no, it is the end of the world.
Of course.
And actually, there was another question in another interview to me that, do you like to have this position in your foundation that you were head of a program? I said, I am proud of that, but I shouldn't be surprised or just proud of because I am a woman of having that position.
Right.
It is, I am a human, like a man to have that. That should not surprise me. And proud, I shouldn't proud of only because I'm a woman I have that. No. I should focus on my quality. What's made me to deserve that, and not
exactly, not just because you're a woman. Unfortunately, with any kind of system, it takes time, doesn't it? But I think the short-term goals and the long-term goals, right? So it's sort of every day you're working towards something. It is changing. It just sometimes takes a bit longer than what we would like. Now, you touched on it a little bit, but maybe there's a little bit more that you want to say. Just I asked you how you got involved with Jiyan, and you said that it was one of your first jobs, actually, and that's what opened your eyes to this world of psychotherapy and something that you wanted to immerse yourself in a little bit more. So I did understand that. But is there anything else that you'd like to say about that relationship? Because I would really like to understand about the women's clinic specifically, but I just don't know if there's something that you would like to say about your involvement with Jiyan and maybe how that relationship's grown.
Yeah, maybe you can imagine about that the junior graduates. I was one of those that was really excited to start work, to implement those in knowledge that I got from university. And I was so excited with my friends, and we were accepted in the women clinic. And it was kind of vacuum for us that we couldn't understand what would be, how would be the work, because it was one of the first inpatient clinic in Iraq, and we can say the Middle East, that is kind of specialized for the Yazidi women and children. In 2015, it means 1 year after the war that happened.
Yeah.
Along that year was intense work to just implement it, to just open that clinic. Yeah, before starting the work, it is right that we had intense trainings. It's also knowledge, but on the ground, it is something different, And we had on-call nights that we were staying at nights on our schedule there to not left them alone. And there were really difficult, traumatized cases. Yeah, one of them is really kind of touched me, and I cannot forget it. They were groups of clients that were visiting the clinic, because the clinic is in a city that near Suleymaniya. The name is Chamchamal. The clients were in camps around Duhok, and we transferred them by bus, and they were groups of patients and clients. We are almost using the client word to the clinic, and then transferring back to the Duhok, and they were staying there for 1 month, and then coming back to Duhok and continuing psychotherapy sessions here, because we have center here, the main center, and also the mobile teams for the camps as well, depending on the client's necessities. How it would be. They would be continuing at camp or in the main center. The first group that we had in clinic, we were juniors in the first one, listening to the difficult stories. They were really difficult stories, how they were separated from each other, how they were the men killed in front of them and separated from the child. And that case that I wanted to talk about was the pregnant woman at that time, and she had the child with her, and she was talking about her life with her eyes full of tears. That she said, I got married for only 6 months, and I was 2 months pregnant, and I were separated from my husband like that, by force. They were hand in hand, holding hands, and they were forcing them to separate them. And just imagine that situation, how it could be with a 2 month pregnancy, and he got birth with ISIS, in a horrible situation, and they could find a way to escape, but it was all traumatic events. We can say at once, not in a month or No, they could see many traumatic events in just 1 hour or less. It was one of them that they were captured. There was other patients that they were not captured, but they were also traumatized based only by, we can say, seeing them or hearing the news that ISIS is coming, and also escaping to the Sinjar mountain and staying there in we can say, under heat, cold, and hunger, thirstiness.
With children? Oh my God.
Yeah, there were people that really just left their children. They cannot just hug them, just hanging them. There were really horrible stories. They're not only stories, they were real life.
That woman who was pregnant, did she get reunited with her husband?
No. After some time, she heard that he was killed by ISIS. And it is really, really difficult to not having a body to bury, just lost with a doubt that they may be alive, because you cannot believe. Just if you can imagine, you cannot believe without a body, just they were died. And it is really difficult.
With regards to the women clinic, can you help us understand a little bit about trauma? How do people react to trauma? What does treatment look like? What do symptoms look like?
If we talk about the trauma, we can say it is a wound that would be created in you after suffering with a traumatic event. And it will create a wound and something that hurts you. And the symptoms could be, one of the first ones would be the re-experiencing that event. You can say it will not leave you. It will be with you in your dreams, in your daily life. It's only searching for a hole to just get you. And we can say a trigger. There could be something that you can see, or it could be a memory that you had during the event. It will trigger you and remind you the event, and give you the same emotions that you had at that time. And the other one could be avoidance, and you may avoid all of the people or things that will remind you the event, just to get rid of that re-experiencing, we can say. And there would be many more changes. With the main one, we can say your beliefs. It will change your belief system, the core beliefs that you had. For example, someone who was really religious after that war, we can say the ISIS war, they will touching that. For example, hating God for why me, why it was happened to me, and it is not fair. And those beliefs will be touched and switched and altered. There would be other symptoms that was impacting your daily routine. Sleeping, eating, you're going out, we can say every activity.
What do you do with these women? What are some examples of the things that you do to try and treat someone who's been through something that's so traumatic?
We can say, as a healing program altogether, especially for those women that were staying there for a while. There is clients staying there for 3 years, for 4 years. And it's really a long time to be in a fight-flight, we can say, situation. Yeah. Every time you are in that, your body and your mind in that situation. And we need a really kind of holistic program. And we are trying to implement that in women clinic. That maybe it is difficult to implement it in an outpatient clinic. That our tools could be an individual session or a group session. And then the client will go back to home. Yeah. But in the holistic approach, we can say every aspect will be under our control because she will be with us and we will be with them 24/7, we can say. The first thing that would be the implementing the rules that would be in that building for sleeping time and eating time, and the scheduling the whole day, all scheduled, no staying in bed for long, and the morning exercises that would be totally new for them, new life, and also individual session and also group sessions at the beginning, especially for educating them giving a psychoeducation about those symptoms that you have totally normal for experiencing those kind of events, and giving them at the beginning to that are kind of control that they lost that control, what happened to me and why I am like that. Just answering that question, why I'm like that, why I'm reacting like that, could be the best basics for doing in individual sessions and trying to confront them with the event. We are having trainings for our staffs, and this is one of them is traumatology training that is kind of providing a technique that's called CREST model, teaching the staffs how to do that with the clients. And they can do that. I mean, mainly in the women clinic, it's kind of stabilizing program that is till now it is implementing there, that trying to stabilize the client before confrontation. And 1 month it will not be enough with our mindset that developed the program. We have our mindsets now, but we are trying to develop another program to assist the stabilization, and there is new approach that could really help in a short term of time. That one of them is that I learned from in my master studying, that is imaginary scripting. It doesn't need to re-experience or re-confront to the same event. No, you can change it to whatever you want. It is really a nice technique that I am in love with it. It could heal one of your events in just 2 sessions. It is you are imagining the event until you are going to the hotspot, we can say, the most horrible moment. And at that moment, you will change it to an event that you needed to happen at that time. And it is the most interesting part, because you couldn't do what you needed at that time because you were a child, for example. You were a child, a helpless child, or you were under a gun. You couldn't do it. If you did, you were killed. And you will do it in your imagination. You will do everything to that person or to anything you needed. Now I'm in love with that.
And do people write it, or do they just think it?
Only imagining. And they need to do it as a homework every day, to do the same thing that they think they needed. And they can change it during the continuing imagination. If they think they needed something else, they can add it. It's imagination. It's really powerful because because it used the power of imagination, and we are an expert of that. I mean, it is really important thing in us. If I am talking about a lemon, your mouth is watering. If I'm talking about it in detail.
Yeah, or even just saying it, yes.
Yeah, because your mind is imagining eating it. There is other ways. For example, narrative exposure therapy. It is evidence-based. It is the first line for traumatic events and traumatic work. And it is narrating it. The most part that I love about narrative exposure is the lifeline. I can suggest and recommend to do it for every patient, even if you didn't use the narrative exposure therapy for them. You are putting a rope, for example, a metaphor for your lifetime, and putting a stone for the traumatic events and a flower for the positive event, not forgetting the positive ones, and the flower and the candle for lose, if you lost someone or lost something. And the sticks for those events that you were feeling guilty and you were the reason of hurting someone or something. The patient most of the time says, "Oh, I have positive events in my life. I didn't know that. I don't remember it." It's a kind of thing.
It's to be able to visualize it, isn't it? Yeah.
For preparing the client to facing a stone, we start with the flower, choosing a flower and talk about it in detail and feel it. And there's a cycle that the therapist is following it for each point of the event. And then for the next session, you will be continuing with the traumatic events, narrating it and writing it. The therapist or assistant will write every detail, and the patient should review it like a homework at home.
Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, the Women's Clinic is a big part of the work at Jiyan, and it's obviously incredibly, incredibly important. I also learned about the other work that you do, which I find just really important as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think I don't know if it's something you are doing or if it's something you are planning to do. It's the work with the militarized youth. And when we were speaking on the phone the other day, you mentioned that a journalist that found a book in Mosul. And I feel for our listeners, for you to explain this work that you're doing with the militarized youth, I feel explaining this book brings it to life in a way that is quite shocking. And I think it's important to just help people understand what happened in 2014 and what happened with these kids.
Yeah, you are right. I mentioned that it would be one of the project that we will work on. Those militarized youth that was captured with their families in 2014, and separating them, and especially those who were from 5 or older, they were having a really systematic schooling. For example, the 5-year-old and 6-year-old, that they should be in first grade or in preschool or in kindergarten, they had their own educational system for them. That one of those books that I watched, and it was math. One of them was math that is kind of programmed for normalizing the crime and aggressiveness toward our religion, that they are not Muslim. Everyone that is against Muslim, or they were not having any religion. What they wrote in that book was not apple plus apple that we expected to see for a child. It was a bullet plus a bullet that was equal to bullets. And it was all of the lectures designed that way. For example, when they wrote to teach them a clock, it was on a bomb, and all of it like A
equals AK-47, B bullet, K kill, D
yeah,
dead.
and exactly. The one you mentioned, it was the alphabetic that they were to teach them in English. A for AK, for B for blast, C for crime, and D for dead. It is all kind of designed to brainwashing them and normalizing the aggressiveness, and kind of planting that belief that if you killed non-Muslim people, you will go to heaven and you will be rewarded there. And if you don't do that, you will go to hell and you will be burned there. And kind of, if I'm doing that, I will be a good person and God will be accept me, and planting those kind of beliefs and brainwashing them.
And you said that these young people, some of them even went as far as killing their parents.
Yes, yeah. It was 6 years old in the video that were shown, because those videos are all published by ISIS, and they were having their platform to publish that, and forced, and we can say convinced to kill them, because you have the right to kill, even if it is your relative, because they were non-Muslim. They are non-believers. You have the right to kill them.
Talk to us about the work that you're planning to do with the militarized youth. You know, why is it so important, touching on the stigma against providing care for former child soldiers because they were educated by ISIS? You know, what does it mean to be de-radicalized? Is it possible? What are these young people who are now, I think, 15 to 25 now? So it's about getting them reintegrated into society. But society obviously is scared. They probably don't know how to integrate. I mean, what does this look like, and what will you be doing?
Actually, the thing that you mentioned about the kind of society take guard of them, that's to just keep themselves away from them. It is one of the really big challenge, because they were seeing them as a criminal.
Yeah, of course.
Because they expect that they did something there. They killed someone there. Maybe some of them didn't do that, but you can say the prediction, the understandings like that. And one of the things that we want to do that, not picking them up, not having the right information that he is in that house having that kind of problem, or they were militarized. No, it was not our target. We are doing, we can say, socializing activities to make them come to us, and then targeting those who are interested in that work. For example, one of the activities is dedicating tour bus that is going around and staying for an hour or two in each camp. One of them is for entertaining the child, and one of them is IT bus. We are naming it IT bus. That is for we can say older children and youth. We can say to teach them how to use computer, how to make CVs, for example, how to use Microsoft applications and those kind of IT related works, to make something that they can interest it, and kind of having the space to open up. And not going house by house or tent by tent to search for them. No, it is not our aim to stigmatize them and shame them about that, because comes into small areas that the talk is kind of spread it out easily, and if you go somewhere, the whole camp will know that. And
that's interesting. So it's a program that internally you know what it is, but externally they won't know that it's specific. That's the target. That's fine.
Yeah. We hope so. It would be like that.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And when do you plan to start that?
Start from July this year. Okay. Started, but it is kind of, that the beginning is planning and kind of implementing. We have the staff, and still we have some more staffs to do that, and we are kind of hiring them, and we bought the bus, and the painting is still didn't do, but we will do that. We kind of make it interesting. And visible, not kind of regular bus, but there will be painting and something like that.
Now we're coming to the end of the podcast, but I did want to just ask you two more questions. One, what gives you hope? And then what keeps you up at night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually one of the things that giving me hope is doing these works that we are doing right now. And kind of recently the NGOs and the people are more aware of the subject, and we hope that the stigma is becoming less and less. There is still, but it is kind of better than before. And doing these works really give me hope to make the world, as you say, a better place.
Yeah. And what keeps you up at night?
Yeah, actually one of the things that is concerning me is, like a nationality of Kurdistan, we are lost in a world, in the big world, because we are named a minority, but I have the idea that it is the oppressed who makes the oppressor, not the other way around. And we need to work on ourselves like Kurds to not feel we are a victim, and unless we have that idea or that belief, there always would be an oppressor to just oppress us.
That's really, really, really telling, and it's very strong. It's true in everything, actually, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, and recently, it's kind of 1-2 years that I am really into self-awareness, and one of my lecture at university is that self-awareness lecture, personal experience and self-experience, the name is, and how it is important to be aware about ourselves and to know why I am thinking like that. And the first question would be, what is my thinking? What is my beliefs? What's the thing that I have? And the next step, we can say the self-reflection. Why I am like that? Why I have that belief? And I believe most of if it is not all, most of our beliefs is just created during our childhood. And I always say that the folders is created there. The other things that we are experienced, it's only the files went to that folders.
Yeah. I almost think that there's maybe a third question. What is my worth?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you need to know who you are. You need to know what your beliefs are. You need to know yourself. because then you know what your worth is. Because then, to your point, it's a lot more difficult for an oppressor. Because if you know that core, God, your work is very important. Now, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to tell our listeners?
Please, I recommend to do self-awareness and self-reflection. It is something that we are coming to do it. And then, as you mentioned, finding the worth, and it would be what will I need to do to make the world a better place? It's kind of simply that thing.
Yeah, so easy, but it's true. But that's just it. Taking that time, giving yourself that space, and I think just reflecting on the group work that you were talking about, and obviously in the context of real trauma, of course, it's very easy, I think, for people to feel like I'm the only one who's going through this. But I think on a macro level of many other people, so many people listening, even, it's, if you're feeling however you're feeling, you're probably not the only one. Also just now in this moment in the world, there's a lot going on. There's just a lot for us all to get our heads around, economy, politics, climate change, there's just so much happening, and it's just a lot for us all to get. So you're probably not the only one who's questioning things, who's worried about things. It's talk about it, find people to talk about it, do these exercises, reflect, give yourself that space and that time. Yeah,
exactly.
Really
being alone with yourself and enjoy it. When you came to that point, it means you found something.
Yeah. Such an amazing conversation, Asmaa. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really enjoyed this. Thank you. Your work is very important, and the work of Jiyan, obviously, is just really, really important. So it's great to get this out there.
Yeah, you're welcome, and also thank you. I didn't think I would have that conversation like that. It was really interesting. Thank you so much.
Until next time.
Hey everyone, this is Philippa again. I hope you enjoyed listening. Now this is your chance to get involved with TIE. If you work in the commercial world, whatever your profession, your position, or your experience, then TIE could be for you. You may have been in business for decades, but have always felt there's another way. Or you may just have a few years experience, but want to do more. Equally, if you want to create game-changing employees and see your company impact the world, we've got you covered. TIE has never been more necessary than right now, and you can be a part of it. Reach out to me at philippa@theinternationalexchange.co.uk and I can tell you more. Or join the TIE Accelerator info session for more information. apply.tieaccelerator.com. Better leaders, better companies, better world. I'm your host, Philippa White. This podcast has been co-produced by Berna Vieira and me, music by Berna Vieira, and artwork by Kelps Vahais. I hope we'll meet again soon.